The deception. Commander Zarachin floated in the observation deck of Station Horizon, watching the distant stars through the viewport. Her fingers traced absent patterns on the cold glass, a habit she developed during long watches. Behind her, footsteps approached with familiar rhythm. "You're thinking too loudly again," Marcus Webb said softly, his reflection appearing beside hers in the glass. She smiled despite the weight pressing on her shoulders. "Am I that transparent?" "Only to me." He stood close enough that she could feel his warmth. Their relationship violated several protocols about fraternization between military and diplomatic corps, but out here on the frontier, some rules felt meaningless. Zara turned to face him, seeing concern in his dark eyes. The Kryn Armada completed their third surveillance pass today. Admiral Thuras is cataloging our defenses. Or what he thinks are our defenses, Marcus corrected, reaching for her hand. Their fingers intertwined naturally, a small act of normalcy in extraordinary times. Below them, Earth's fleet conducted routine patrols, 15 aging patrol vessels and scattered orbital platforms. To any observer, humanity looked vulnerable, isolated, barely capable of defending a single system. That was precisely the point. "How much longer do we maintain this?" Zara asked. "As long as Chancellor Reeves orders," Marcus replied. "The Kryn need to believe we're weak. Every aggressive species in this sector is watching." Across the void, aboard the massive warship Devastation's Crown, Admiral Thuras reviewed the intelligence reports with satisfaction. The primate species called humans possessed nothing that could threaten his armada. 300 warships would be excessive for this conquest, but Thuras believed in overwhelming force. "They have detected our presence," his tactical officer reported. No response beyond standard defensive postures. Thuras clicked his mandibles in amusement. "They know they cannot win. Prepare the ultimatum. We shall be merciful and offer surrender before we demonstrate our superiority." Back on Station Horizon, Zara's communication panel chirped urgently. She reluctantly released Marcus's hand to check the encrypted message. Her expression hardened as she read. "What is it?" Marcus asked. "Priority alert from Earth Command. The Kryn are transmitting their demands." She looked up at him, fear and determination mixing in her gaze. "It's happening." Marcus pulled her close, pressing his forehead against hers. "Then we trust the plan. Trust that everything we've hidden will be enough. And if it's not?" He kissed her softly, a promise and prayer combined. "Then at least we face it together." Zara's panel chirped again. Chancellor Reeves wanted all senior officers for an emergency briefing. The deception was about to end, and with it, the galaxy's understanding of what humanity truly was. As they walked toward the briefing room, Zara took one last look at the stars, wondering which of them held the ancient allies that Earth had secretly befriended decades ago. The ultimatum. The holographic display in the war room flickered to life, showing Admiral Thuras's angular features. His translated words dripped with condescension. "Humans of Earth, you have 48 hours to surrender completely. Your military will be dissolved, your government restructured under Kryn authority. Resistance is futile." Chancellor Olivia Reeves stood perfectly still, her silver hair catching the blue light of the displays. Around the table sat Earth's true leadership, generals who commanded ghost fleets, scientists who bent reality, and diplomats who negotiated with beings from beyond normal space. "He has no idea," General Hayes muttered, shaking his head. "That's been the entire strategy," Reeves replied calmly. "Let them see weakness until the moment we reveal strength." She turned to Zara. "Commander Chen, status of the Rift Gate?" "Neptune Station reports full operational capacity," Zara answered. "The Sentinels confirmed readiness 30 minutes ago. We can open the portal on your command." Marcus shifted beside Zara, his diplomatic training evident in his composed expression. But she felt the tension in his body, saw the way his jaw tightened. After the briefing ended and others filed out, he caught her arm gently. "Walk with me," he said quietly. They found themselves in the garden dome, Earth's plants thriving under artificial sunlight. The irony wasn't lost on Zara. Humanity had learned to create life in the void of space, yet the galaxy saw them as primitive. Marcus pulled her into a secluded alcove between towering ferns. If this goes wrong. It won't, she interrupted. Zara, please. His hands cupped her face with infinite tenderness. If this goes wrong, I need you to know that these past 2 years with you have been the best of my life. Stolen moments, secret smiles, breaking every regulation just to be near you, I'd do it all again. Her throat tightened with emotion. Marcus. He kissed her deeply, desperately, as if trying to memorize the taste of her lips. She responded with equal intensity, her fingers tangling in his hair, pulling him closer. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. I love you, he whispered against her mouth. I should have said it sooner. I love you too, she replied, tears threatening. Which is why we're both going to survive this. We have a future to build. Hours later, Zara sat in her quarters reviewing tactical data when alarms screamed throughout the station. She bolted to her command console. The Kryn are attacking early, her second officer reported. Admiral Thuras just jumped his entire fleet into Earth orbit. He's not waiting for the ultimatum to expire. Zara's hands flew across controls. Get Chancellor Reeves. Activate Neptune protocols immediately. Across the solar system, deep in Neptune's shadow, massive generators hummed to life. Station Kepler, humanity's most classified installation, began executing sequences that had been planned for 30 years. Thuras watched Earth's pathetic defensive ships scatter before his armada. This is almost disappointing, he told his crew. I expected more fight from. His words died as every sensor on his ship screamed warnings simultaneously. Space itself was tearing open near Neptune. The rift gate began as a pinpoint of absolute darkness, then expanded with terrifying speed. Reality bent around its edges, light and matter behaving in impossible ways. Within seconds, the portal stretched 10 kilometers across, a wound in the fabric of space. And through it, something emerged. The revelation. The first Sentinel ship defied all conventional understanding of vessel design. It seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, solid yet translucent, massive yet somehow weightless. Its surface rippled with colors that had no names in human or Kryn languages, shifting through spectrums beyond normal perception. Admiral Thuras felt fear for the first time in his military career. More ships followed. Dozens, then hundreds, each one a masterpiece of technology that made his armada look like children's toys. They moved through space with fluid grace, ignoring physics that should have constrained them. Battle stations. Thuras roared, but his voice cracked with uncertainty. On Station Horizon, Zara monitored the situation from her command chair, Marcus standing beside her at the diplomatic station. Her hands remained steady despite her racing heart. Sentinel Fleet, this is Commander Chen. Welcome back to our dimension. A response came, not through radio waves but directly into their minds, a sensation both alien and strangely comforting. Guardian Chen. We honor the ancient pact. Designate hostile forces. Kryn Armada, 300 vessels in Earth orbit. Diplomatic solutions are still preferred. Understood. Initiating containment protocols. The Sentinel ships moved with purpose that seemed choreographed. They didn't rush toward the Kryn fleet, they simply appeared around it, space folding to accommodate their passage. Within moments, Thuras found his 300 warships surrounded by beings that existed partially outside normal reality. Fire! Thuras commanded desperately. The Kryn weapons discharged, plasma cannons, kinetic missiles, energy beams, all directed at the nearest Sentinel vessel. The attacks passed through the ship as if it weren't there, or perhaps as if the attacks themselves ceased to exist upon contact. The Sentinels responded with a demonstration rather than an attack. One Kryn destroyer simply stopped. Frozen in time, its crew trapped in a single eternal moment. Another ship found itself phasing between dimensions, existing in two realities simultaneously. Aboard the Devastation's Crown, Thuras collapsed into his command throne. What are you? Zara's voice came through on open channels. Admiral Thuras, stand down your forces immediately. You're facing the Sentinels, beings who existed before your species learned to make fire. Earth has been their chosen successors for 3 decades. Marcus moved closer to Zara's chair, his hand finding her shoulder. She reached up, covering his hand with hers, a small gesture of mutual support witnessed by the entire bridge crew. At this point, regulations seemed trivial. How? Thuras transmitted, his voice hollow. How did primitives like you make contact with them? Chancellor Reeves's image appeared on all displays. 30 years ago, our deep space probe encountered a sentinel beacon at the edge of our system. It contained an invitation, a test to see if we were ready to join the ancient alliance. She explained how humanity had passed trials of wisdom, restraint, and imagination. How Earth had proven they would use great power for protection rather than conquest. How the Sentinels had been waiting for a species that valued life over domination. Zara continued the explanation. We kept our true capabilities hidden, appearing weak to attract aggressors. Every species that threatened us revealed their nature, conquest-driven, unable to see beyond military might. You used us, Thuras said bitterly. We tested you, Marcus corrected firmly. Your species could have chosen diplomacy. Could have sought peaceful contact. Instead, you saw apparent weakness and chose invasion. That choice revealed everything we needed to know. The Sentinel fleet began a display of power that left no doubt about Earth's protection. Ships appeared and disappeared across the solar system. Asteroids were moved instantaneously. A small moon of Jupiter vanished and reappeared near Mars. Reality itself became their canvas. The choice. Admiral Thuras stared at the impossible display surrounding his fleet. His tactical computer had ceased attempting calculations. There were no algorithms for warfare against beings who treated physics as mere suggestions. What do you want from us? He finally transmitted, defeat heavy in his voice. Zara exchanged glances with Marcus before responding. Admiral, we want peace. But peace requires understanding. I'm transmitting historical data to your ship, the true history of this galaxy. The information flooded Kryn systems, records from the Sentinels spanning millions of years. Thuras watched as the data revealed a terrifying truth. The galaxy had faced extinction before, multiple times. Aggressive civilizations had nearly torn reality apart with their weapons development, almost releasing entities that existed in the spaces between dimensions. The Sentinels had fought a war lasting 1,000 years to seal those entities away. They had withdrawn to a parallel dimension to maintain eternal vigilance, waiting for a species worthy of joining their watch. Humanity showed us something we'd rarely seen, a Sentinel voice resonated through every ship. The wisdom to hide strength. The patience to endure appearing weak. The compassion to offer mercy even when you held absolute power. Your species has flaws, but your potential for growth surpasses your potential for destruction. Marcus pulled up additional files at his station. Admiral, we're showing you projections. If current galactic civilization continues on its present course, constant warfare, escalating weapons development, disregard for dimensional stability, you'll weaken the barriers containing the ancient threats. In approximately 2 centuries, something will break through. The projections showed worlds consumed by entities of pure entropy, civilizations erased from existence, reality itself unraveling like torn fabric. It was apocalypse on a cosmic scale. Thuras felt his blood chill. And Earth? Earth becomes the guardian, Chancellor Reeves stated firmly. With Sentinel support, we protect this galaxy from threats both internal and external. We guide younger species away from dangerous paths. We maintain the walls that keep the darkness at bay. You expect us to simply accept human authority? Thuras asked, pride warring with pragmatism. Zara leaned forward in her chair. Not authority, partnership. Admiral, your people have resources, knowledge, perspectives that humanity lacks. We're not asking for submission. We're asking you to help us protect everything that exists. A long silence followed. Zara felt Marcus's hand squeeze her shoulder gently, a private gesture of support. She allowed herself a brief moment to appreciate his presence, his steady calm that balanced her military intensity. Finally, Thuras spoke. What would this partnership entail? The negotiations lasted hours. Marcus proved invaluable, his diplomatic training helping bridge the gap between human and Kryn thinking. He proposed frameworks where both species contributed to mutual defense while maintaining sovereignty. Cultural exchanges that would build understanding. Joint research into technologies that enhanced life rather than destroyed it. During a brief recess, Marcus and Zara found themselves alone in a conference room. The adrenaline of crisis was fading, replaced by exhaustion and relief. You were brilliant out there, Zara said softly. Marcus smiled tiredly. Just doing my job. Though I admit, it's easier to negotiate when backed by reality-bending ancient beings. She laughed, the sound surprising her with its genuineness. Marcus stepped closer, and she rose to meet him. Their embrace was tight, desperate, celebrating survival and possibility. When this is over, he murmured into her hair, no more hiding. No more stolen moments. I want everyone to know you're mine. Possessive, are we? She teased, but her heart soared. Only about things that matter, he replied, kissing her forehead. And you're all that matters. They returned to negotiations with renewed energy. By the time Admiral Thuras accepted Earth's terms, the galaxy had changed forever. New dawn. 3 months after the Kryn encounter, Zara stood in the garden dome again, but everything felt different. Marcus stood beside her openly now, his arm around her waist, no need to hide in shadows. I still can't believe they approved our transfer requests, Marcus said, grinning. You, me, and the Sentinel Liaison Station. Working together officially. I think Chancellor Reeves knew all along, Zara replied, leaning into him. She mentioned something about effective partnerships requiring trust. Below them, the new joint facility took shape, human, Kryn, and 3 other species working side by side. Admiral Thuras had become an unexpected ally, using his influence to convince other civilizations that cooperation with Earth served everyone's interests. Not all species agreed. Reports came regularly of empires preparing their own tests of Earth's resolve. But each time, the Sentinel fleet emerged, reality bent, and aggression transformed into dialogue. Zara's communication panel chimed. Commander Chen, we have incoming vessels. Signature matches the Viridian Collective. She exchanged glances with Marcus. The Viridians were notoriously aggressive. Here we go again. I'll prepare diplomatic protocols, Marcus said, but he pulled her close first, kissing her deeply. Later, we celebrate. Dinner, real wine, and that conversation about making this permanent. Her heart skipped. Permanent. He produced a small box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a ring that seemed to capture starlight. Zara Chen, will you marry me? Will you be my partner in all things, not just saving the galaxy? Tears blurred her vision. Yes. Absolutely yes. They kissed again, sealing the promise, before duty called them back to their stations. The Viridian Collective entered Earth's system with 800 warships, confident in their superiority. They received the standard transmission, surrender or face Earth's guardians. They chose combat. The rift gate opened. This time, Zara led a squadron of hybrid ships, human vessels enhanced with Sentinel technology. She and Marcus coordinated from the command center, their professional efficiency a dance perfected through both crisis and intimacy. Sentinel Fleet, initiate demonstration Protocol 7, Zara ordered. The Viridian weapons never fired. Instead, they found themselves transported instantaneously to a region of space where the ancient threat remained barely contained. Through enhanced perception, they experienced, just for a moment, the horror waiting beyond reality's barriers. Their surrender came within minutes. "This is becoming routine," General Hayes observed from Earth Command. Chancellor Reeves shook her head. "Not routine. Every encounter teaches another civilization the truth. Eventually, the message will spread enough that aggression becomes unthinkable." Months became years. Zara and Marcus married in a ceremony attended by humans, Kryn, and even a Sentinel representative who manifested as light given form. Their partnership became legendary, the commander and the diplomat who helped reshape galactic civilization. Other species gradually joined the Guardian Alliance. The Sentinels shared knowledge carefully, ensuring each civilization matured before receiving technologies that could be dangerous. Earth coordinated these efforts, becoming the bridge between ancient wisdom and young civilizations. But in quiet moments, Zara sometimes stood at viewports, staring at distant stars. Marcus would find her there, understanding without words. "You feel it too," she'd say. "Something's changing. Out there, beyond our detection." The Sentinels had warned them, the entities sealed away were patient, ancient, and eternally hungry. Earth's victory wasn't an ending but a beginning. They had become guardians of a galaxy that didn't yet fully understand what it needed protection from. But for now, there was peace. There was hope. There was love. Marcus held Zara close, both of them watching stars that held both promise and threat. "Whatever comes," he whispered, "we face it together." "Together," she agreed, intertwining her fingers with his. The dark gates remained open across human space, watchtowers against the night, monuments to wisdom over strength, symbols of a species that had learned the hardest lesson: true power lies not in destruction, but in the choice not to destroy. Earth had emerged from isolation not through conquest but through connection. And in doing so, they had shown the galaxy that even the weakest could become the strongest when they had something worth protecting. The end.